Good evening, graduates, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the St. Xavier High School commencement exercises for the class of 2026. This evening, we are honored to have Mr. Kyle Chandler as our commencement speaker. Mr. Chandler serves as a founding principal of Xavier Jesuit Academy, an all-boys Catholic Jesuit school serving grades 3 to 8 in Cincinnati's Bond Hill neighborhood. Since opening its doors in September of 2024, XJA has been committed to forming young men of character and intellect while strengthening a community where the effects of economic scarcity can be felt. Prior to founding XJA, Mr. Chandler served for 13 years as assistant principal for student affairs at his alma mater, the University of Detroit Jesuit High School and Academy. There, he distinguished himself as a thoughtful leader and trusted mentor, recognized for his sound judgment, relationship building, and dedication to forming students in both academic excellence and character. Kyle and his wife first met on the campus of Colgate University almost 30 years ago and currently enjoy raising their 4 children here in Cincinnati, where family and community remain at the heart of their lives. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Kyle Chandler.
Good evening. Mr. Lynch, there's no way there's 2,400 people in here and that's how they sound when I say good evening. Good evening. Appreciate that. I know we've all had long days, but this is what I've been excited for all day. Same with you? Yes. Amen? Patrick, you should understand I've been doing this for 24 years, so I've been to at least 24 graduations, and what you just did right here was remarkable in front of this many people. So can we again just thank him again for what he just did? And so similar to Patrick, I did a little bit of research. Mr. Ayler sent me the last 5 years worth of speeches. So I was taking copious notes, thinking about things that I should say, should not say. I then sat down with a select group of St. X faculty members and said, hey, listen, what's the key thing for me to focus on? And by far, they all said the same thing. Keep it brief. Mr. Lynch's invitation was, Kyle, you got about 8 minutes. For you, we'll give you 9. I'm going to try to stay on track, but at the same time, there's so many wonderful things that I'd like to share. I do want to start off just by thanking President Riley. He's been tremendously supportive to me and to our XJA mission. Principal Lynch, thank you for accepting my phone calls and text messages on those snowy mornings, right? Some people look at the news. I send Dan Lynch a text message and say, are you guys open? 9 times out of 10, St. X is open. Therefore, XJA is open too. So when parents have issues, I send them Mr. Lynch's email address. Board of Trustees, faculty members, staff, class of 2026, and to all of our parents, thank you. I do want to make a point while I have the mic to express great gratitude to my 4 kids. I told them, I said, hey, I'm going to St. X's graduation to give the speech, and they looked at me and they said, why? I love them too. And then I really have to show a lot of love to my wife, Tamada. As Dan alluded to, we met, I remember the day, June 21st, 1999, on Colgate, it was 27 years ago, Colgate University's campus. She looked across the quad and saw me and immediately fell in love. She asked me to cut that part out. But I do want to make a point to emphasize how much I'm grateful to her. She wanted to be here, my kids wanted to be here, but just like many of you all, she's driving our kids around to activities, baseball practices, our daughters at work. And so when I say that with the spirit of humility and gratitude. So students, I am going to make one ask of you tonight. Right, you know where your people are here in this place. Could you please stand up and thank them for what they've done for you throughout your entire journey? I know, that's crazy. I'm asking things. Yep. Let's thank them for what they've done. Thank you, gentlemen. So the reason why I do that is because I was very fortunate growing up, right? Hardworking mom and dad. Dad was a bus driver for the city of Detroit, 35 years. Mom was a cashier at Farmer Jack at a grocery store. My first job was as a caddy at Detroit Golf Club. So for me to get any caddies in the group, students, any caddies? None? So we understand that to be a caddy, to get that first loop, you need to be there by 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock. I caddied back in the day when you couldn't schedule somebody's loop. You had to be there and wait. My mother would schedule her day to where she would go to work at 5, leave at 5:45 and take her lunch, and she would take me to the golf course and drop me off. And while she was doing that, I would sleep in the car. I share that because she would never share that out loud herself. The people who are in this stance have given countless hours and time for you to get where you are. So I say thank you. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you all for everything that you've done. You've never asked for a thank you from your son, but recognize that they're here because of the sacrifices that you've made along the journey. So today, I'm going to be brief. I'm going to follow that recommendation. Students, if you could jump in the Wayback Machine, right? 2021 in the fall. You were in 8th grade. I was finishing up my 19th year at U of D Jesuit High School, my 13th year as Dean of Students. So that's why I've always had a great appreciation for Mr. Shaper, right? Dean of Students don't typically last that long. And I've known him for a really long time. And so I remember pulling up to U of D Jesuit. So just like Sanex, our entrance is just a beautiful space. So just like your plaza, your main entrance, it's a diamond staircase at U of D Jesuit. I pull up on this wonderful August morning, and one of our seniors is standing outside. And I get out of my car, it's early in the morning, and I say, Griff, what are you doing outside? And Griff is looking up, and he goes, Mr. Chandler, this is my last first day. Oh, I mean, I was a mean dean, but even I had a heart for that. And I said, man, this kid, okay. So I said, let's go inside. Day 2, I pull up. Next day, I pull up, and Griff is still outside. He did not stay there overnight. But when I walked up to him, I said, Griff, what's going on, man? What's this? He's Mr. Chandler. It's my last second day. I said, man, we're not going to do this all year. Go inside of the building. That's not going to work. But I share that because I think as we look forward to the future, it's important that we reflect on the past a little bit. And so if possible, I want to lead us through a bit of an examine. I'm currently teaching my 17-year-old daughter how to drive. Prayers are appreciated. 90% of our time, 95% of our time is spent looking through the front window. But every now and then you have to look at the rearview mirror to see what you've gotten through. And so I think for the class of 2026, it's important that you replay some of these moments. I think maybe that anxiousness that you might have felt in January of 22 when you had submitted all of your documents, you'd taken your HSPT, but you were still waiting to get that official notice that you've been accepted to St. X. Think about the excitement that you felt when you got that acceptance. Think about the day you pulled into the parking lot for the welcome night, and the band was jamming outside, and you walked in, and you saw this long blue carpet, and you saw these men, in 8th grade, you thought those were men, these men on both sides that were clapping you in. Think about the euphoria and the excitement. I want the parents to think about that as well. Remember for you when you went into the burning gym, and there were all of those other parents who you didn't know? Your son was afraid, you were afraid, and you didn't know what was on the horizon. But then by the end of that night, you felt like you belonged. You walked into the building, you probably stopped by the spirit shop and spent way too much money, Mr. Riley. No, it's not the cost. I walked out of the spirit shop this year dressed head to toe. Pajamas, socks, hats, everything. And you walked in feeling like you were isolated, but you walked out feeling like there was a brotherhood. I want you guys to also think about what you've experienced throughout your journey. The family nights. Parents, I want you to look around the room for a moment. The people who that night were strangers, who are now some of your closest friends. Students, look around the room a little bit to the guys to your left and to your right. Those smiles on your faces let me know that you've had a heck of a journey, that you've had a really good time. I ask that you think about the triumphs. Patrick talked about some of the losses. I think about the fact that you guys have given and continued to give. I think about that Paycor night. I don't know if you understand the magnitude of what you all accomplished in front of 22,000 people. You did something even the Cincinnati Bengals couldn't accomplish. The comeback was wonderful, and you got to share it with your brothers, and the world got to see it. But I'm not here just for that. Honestly, I think the reason why Mr. Lynch invited me to speak tonight is because I'm one of many community partners that gets to benefit from the men that you guys are. And so you might remember your sophomore year, right? I was invited to speak at the Ignatian Summit thanks to Mr. Ravenna. And one of the calls to action that I talked to you guys about is what does it mean to be a hero in plain sight? And we changed our language from being a hero in plain sight to what does it mean to be a man for others living in plain sight? I got to see it firsthand. XJA would not exist without you all. And I don't say that insincerely. I say that because people don't know our origin story. Before our building was open, we were doing renovations. We had an office here on this campus. And we would invite families into a room. We would talk about XJA. We would talk aspirationally what it could be like. And you know what would happen is there was one day in particular, we asked the families, there were 7 families in the room. We said, why are you here? And they said, because I want my son to go to St. X. And this is the pathway for my son to go to St. X. So I look out at you all and I get emotional because when I see you, I see them. And many of them will occupy these seats. Because of what you all have done to that call for action that I gave you, and I said, what does it mean to be a man for others hiding in plain sight? You all have volunteered Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, weekends, all the time. You're always present. So our students get to see themselves in you, but also hope you see yourselves in them. The world is going to tell you that you guys are the kids who are on the top of North Bend Road, and my guys are the kids on the bottom of North Bend Road. You don't treat them like that. This morning I said, hey fellas, we do a morning meeting every day, 63 boys in front of me. I said, hey look, I get to share some remarks in front of the St. X students. What do you want me to tell them about our gratitude towards them? Our kids raised their hands, and the first thing one of my guys said, Mr. Chandler, please tell them those warm chocolate chip cookies in the cafeteria are bussin'. Thank you. Then the next kid raised his hand. He said, Mr. Chandler, can you please tell Colin and the hockey team guys how much we appreciated their tutoring on Mondays? Them sitting down with us made a world of difference. But also let them know that we enjoyed beating them in that last hockey game on the last day of tutoring. And they didn't take it easy on us. So it was a dub, Mr. Chandler. Thanks, kids. I appreciate it. But I said, beyond that, what does it mean? And one of my kids said, Mr. Chandler, please let them know how much we appreciate them treating us like real brothers. Sometimes people can talk about our kids as though they're underprivileged kids, they're impoverished kids, or they're kids who are at risk. You all have never treated us like that. And I thank you for that. You all see the dignity in all of our students. You see God's grace in all of our students. And I'm grateful that you continue to do it. One of my kids said that he was going to the allergist, and when he went to the allergist, one of you saw him and said, hey, Mateo, hey, Tomas, good to see you. He said, one of the high school kids recognized me. Here's what you don't know is that he was going there for his first round of allergy shots and was terrified. And the fact that one of you all spoke to him meant the world to him and put him at ease. So they say that the true character of a man is known by how he responds when nobody's watching. Number one, there's always somebody watching. But number two, I love the fact that you guys are so true to who you are and what you do. My last piece is Mr. Lynch said it, Mr. Riley said it, Patrick even alluded to it too. I would love to give you sage career advice and tell you what the future holds for you. Our 50-year grads already left. I don't know what 2076 is going to hold. But what I do know, when I prayed for you all this morning, my prayer to God was, Lord, guide their footsteps, but also allow them to hear your voice. So I thought back to a visit I had at your school about a month ago. I walked through your hallways, fellas. You guys are unbelievably blessed. The teachers that you have, the staff members that you have are second to none. When I went in your teacher's lounge and I call it the Ring of Honor, and I saw these countless people who've given their lives to Jesuit education, but also the people that have brought you over to our school, God gave me an answer to my prayers. He says, Kyle, let them know we don't know what the profession is going to be, but lean into the teachers that have guided your footsteps. When I walk into your building, I see pure joy every single day. And I've done this for a long time. It does not exist everywhere. People who allow their passions to show themselves in the classroom, an environmental club, doing community service, doing science Olympiad, who continue to give and not to count the cost. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do is, don't just listen to their words, but pay attention to their actions. They fully embody what it means to be men and women for others, to God's greater glory. So again, fellas, tonight, I'm going to say this. I'm a U of D Jesuit graduate. You all are second to none. What you've accomplished, what you continue to do is remarkable. I'll continue to keep you in my prayers. And tomorrow morning, I'm looking forward to showing our kids some of these pictures so that they can again see themselves occupying these seats in about 8 years. Thank you and God bless.